Hey y'all, this is the first video I'm going to be making in a series of journal article summaries towards a distinction project in athletic training. So here we go. The first one I looked at was a statistical analysis that was published in 2019 in the Journal of Athletic Training. The title was Concussion and National Hockey League Player Performance in Advanced Hockey Metrics Analysis. And the authors were Thomas Buckley et al. There were 6 or 7 of them. And some of the institutions they were involved with were University of Delaware, the University of Michigan at Ann Arbor, and the Vanderbilt School of Medicine. So what this article set out to find was if players returning from a sports-related concussion would show a deficit in performance during their initial comeback, and they looked at 3 different time periods. They looked at 5 games after return, 10 games after return, and then the remainder of the season. So there were 93 players that they pulled to look at in this study. And then for a control group, they looked at 51 players who missed time due to non-injury related factors. There's another study we'll look at here in a little bit, comparing concussed players with players who had a lower body injury. But this one was comparing players who had a concussion with players who just missed time for personal reasons. Okay, so some of the statistics they looked at were points per 60 minutes, which is just how many points a player has for every 60 minutes they play, or an average thereabout. Corsi percentage, which is like plus minus, but it's for shot attempts, and that includes blocked shots and missed shots. And then personal Fenwick shooting percentage, which is similar to Corsi but does not account for blocked shots. So it's possible to have a better Corsi and a bad Fenwick, and the main difference there is just to see how many blocked shots that player is attempting. The fourth one is scoring chances per 60. That one's relatively simple, as is penalty difference. So just compared to the other team, how many penalties is that player responsible for? And then finally, we have something called PDO, which does not stand for something, and I'm curious to wonder where they got the name from. But it's essentially considered a measure of luck. It's normally between 99 and 101, and the way you calculate it is you take the save percentage of your team's goalie and then add it to shooting percentage. So if your goalie is saving, like, for sake of ease, if your goalie is saving 90% of the shots and you are shooting 10%, 1 out of every 10 shots is a goal, then you will have a PDO of 100. So going into the results, when I was originally reading this, I kind of assumed there'd be some sort of difference, whether it was just in players returning back from a break, but I also kind of assumed there'd be more of a difference between the concussed players and the players who missed due to non-injury reasons. So it was surprising to find out that in their results they found no statistical difference between the 2 groups. Let's see. So even though some of the lab studies they cited have found neurological deficits even after athletes return to play, either they didn't affect the athletes in the study's performance, or the variables that the researchers used to measure performance didn't account for any deficits that may have been there. Looking forward, I'd like to find more articles like this to truly see if this is the case, or if this study was just a one-time sort of thing. I find it hard to believe that there's no deficit right immediately following concussion, and that either means that we're doing a really great job of holding these athletes out until they're ready to play, which in the NHL I do not believe for a second, or the way that their brains or actions or daily activities are affected do not have a negative implication towards their performance on the ice. Again, like I mentioned earlier, there's another study I'll be talking about here in a little bit about returning from a concussion versus returning from a lower body injury. I'm interested to see if they found a difference between that. So that's all I have for this video. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate any feedback y'all have. Feel free to leave it in the comments, and we'll be back soon with another article review. Thanks.